I'm so proud that A Dog's Life is now sponsored and powered by Antinol. I've given green-lipped muscle to my fur family for over 15 years as part of the precautionary principle as learnt with the College of Integrated Veterinary Therapies. I switched to Antinol's Joint Care Pro a year ago, being so interested in its unique oil-based capsules, especially for Mr. Binks. He's taken green-lip muscle since I rehomed him, aged 2, 11 years ago, to support his long-term joint health, as green-lip muscle is species-appropriate and bioavailable. Antinol is backed by 25 years of scientific research. Each 50 milligram capsule simply contains its patented active ingredient, PSCO-524. This is extracted from green-lip muscle. This is the highly concentrated oil that's ethically extracted and contains all known omega-3s, including ETA, EPA, and DHA. Mr. Binks's stride is strong. He's active and happy. His coat is like a mirror, reflecting a healthy metabolism that's supported by this powerhouse of omega-3. So go to Antinol's website today and grab your 10% discount simply using my code AnnaWebb. Hello, I'm Anna Webb, and welcome to A Dog's Life that's powered by Antinol. This week, I've got the pleasure to be speaking to the royal butler, Grant Harrold, all about in-dining etiquette, and that's not just for humans, but for dogs too. He's a keen lover of the miniature dachshund. Grant Harrold, welcome to A Dog's Life.
Thank you for having me on. It's exciting to be part of this, to join you as well.
Oh, well, we're great, royalists here. And I know the listeners of the podcast, are massive corgi and doggy and Dachsie fans as a rule. So I think we'll be coming on to all of that in a little bit. But explain, Grant, that I can't believe this, that you actually were the butler to Prince Charles, now King Charles III.
Yes, when I was well, actually, I shouldn't be telling you. I should be saying get the book, because I've got a book coming out next month. But basically, when I was a kid, I had an ambition, a dream of, as crazy as it sounds, Queen Elizabeth was my idol, somebody I wanted to meet, and that inner determination as a child followed me through my teenage years into my early 20s, and then eventually, through a lot of determination, got a job with her son as a butler, which got me eventually to look after her as well. And I'd love to see the corgis, but no, the corgis. I saw the corgis many times. Normally they're chasing after me down a corridor, but no, I didn't really have to look after. She actually looked after the dorgies or the corgis. She used to do that herself mostly when she could.
Oh, that's brilliant, though. Yes, that is what I heard. I mean, without doubt, the late Queen was a very authentic dog lover and dog owner. She lived really, I think, for her animals, the horses as well, I think.
She did. She loved her horses. She used to always carry like polos and stuff in her pockets. And so she was very good with she just loved animals.
Yes. But I think King Charles certainly does as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, he loves his horses, and he's more Jack Russells, and the Queen has got Jack Russells. So that's their thing. So sadly, the corgis are no more. Well, actually, from what I understand, the Prince Andrew and Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, I think they got the last two, because the Queen had two corgis at the end of her life, and they've still got them. So there's still two. I don't know if this one might be a dorgie actually, but they've got the two of them, the last two the corgis, both corgis. She's got the last two, or they've got the last two that were the late Queen's.
Yes, and funnily enough, actually, I went on LBC, digressing for a second, to talk about the corgis. The Duchess of York is, she looks after them, I think, because she was in the paper saying how every day when, she's out walking them, one's called Muick. I forget the name of the other one. And she believes that the late Queen is being channeled through these two corgis, actually. So
yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So this really interested Tom Swainbrook actually on LBC. So we did a chat about that, and we both have a scientist in common that we're very fond of, actually, or respect, not fond, respect very much, called Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. So that was probably the most bizarre radio interview I've ever done.
yeah. I think I know what you're talking about, because I saw that getting where she was talking about how she was connected to, or how the Queen was connected through him. It was quite interesting.
No, 100%. Sandy and Muick, that's it.
Sandy and Muick, yes.
Yeah. Where do these things come from suddenly in your brain?
I know.
It's an interesting thought. But coming back to the discussion that we're talking about today, which is obviously related to your years as a butler, which is dining etiquette.
Yeah, and I'd love to think, just to quickly add, I'd also love to think that as it's Dine Out Week, which is championed by Lightspeed, who came up with this idea, I'd like to think that the corgis or the doggies are going to be dining out as well. I'm sure. Listen, I think the great thing about Dine Out Week is that I've been talking today about meeting up with your friends and your family and all this kind of thing. But equally, it's just as important to take, as long as it's not too hot, obviously, but it's equally important to take our animals, with us as well, as long as there's a bit of shade and obviously water, which are the important things. But, it's quite nice to kind of get them involved in the action as well.
Well, certainly here in London, I would say that most pubs and most restaurants now, are actually dog friendly.
Yeah.
So, and this is great to take your dogs with you in so many more environments than you ever used to be able to.
Yes,
turn back 20 years ago. But of course, there's a raft of doggy etiquette, which obviously as a trainer, I often help people desensitize their dogs to a cafe environment, for example, and train them to settle so that they're not a nuisance in a place like that, where you don't want your dog barking the whole time and, driving other people up the wall when they're trying to tuck into their Sunday lunch.
Yeah, this is the problem. And also, I think it's difficult because a lot of friends, they can be vocal, and sometimes they do sometimes say that the dogs can be better behaved in restaurants than children, which I think can be. Can I just say that's an interesting thing, because I've actually I'm digressing a little bit, but talk about the Lightspeed and about the fact I've come up with this. There's a reason I'm saying this. Come up with this an etiquette guide, if you like, which is you're gonna love the title. What the Fork? A modern dining out guide to being like a royal. Now, in the guide, I talk about children and about iPads, and I say that if your children are kind of getting frustrated. I remember as a kid, I'd be given a colouring book and some crayons or pens, which could be equally dangerous. But we used to be given those. Where today, kids are more likely to be given an iPhone, an iPad. And I'm trying to say that within reason, that's fine, because obviously I want people to go out and I want them to dine and have a nice experience, but then put them down when you're having the meal. Now, the good thing with animals, if we take our dogs to the pub, you don't have to worry about giving them anything, because they'll quite happily sit there and wait for the food, and they'll be very happy to converse with everybody walking past. So there's a positive to this if you think about it.
100%. I couldn't agree more, of course. I'm on this page. There's a study actually that says just having a dog in a room, like say in the office, one dog will calm everybody else in that room down, lower their blood pressure, make them smile more, interact more with one another, just generally enhance the mood in a positive way. So the same does go with dogs. I mean, obviously some people might think, germs, we can't have a dog in the restaurant, but I don't know if you know this, Grant. Sorry, I am quite talkative, actually. I will calm down and we'll get to the point, because I love some of your points here. It reminds me of my dad, who was very strict with me with my table manners. So It's been quite funny. But going back to dogs, the only place that you are not legally allowed to take your dog is actually the kitchens of a hotel or a pub or a restaurant. Otherwise, it's all down to personal preference of the
Yes.
owner of the establishment.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, you know, it's tricky because obviously with hygiene and stuff, that's a big part, isn't it? And, you know, well, I mean, you only have to think back to Basil Fawlty and the rat that was on the loose. So, you know, if you suddenly got dogs and things, but in some ways, you know, you got some of these hotels have got owners that have obviously got pets, and the pets do go everywhere. And you know, I mean, we have dogs in our kitchens, and we're okay for it. But I know with, you know, food and everything, they've got to be careful. But the great thing is, you said earlier, that they're allowing, you know, us to take our dogs to more and more places and become more and more dog friendly, which is really good. I wonder though if the at the end of the meal, we've been talking about the you know, with this Dine Out, we've been talking about the bill and about how you do the little hand gesture, you know, the Harry Potter waving a wand to indicate that you're ready for the check or the bill.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yes.
wondering if maybe we could get the dogs to do it. We could get them to bark and woof, and that will get the attention of the wait. Actually, probably if you're sitting there waiting for your food and it's not come over, just get the dog to bark at them. That'll get the food over quick enough.
Well, do you know what? I think it's one of the greatest things you can train your dog is to bark on cue, just with a little hand signal. So it's ever so subtle. I've actually trained that with my dogs actually. So it's quite a fun trick. But and so yes, yeah, you could do that. It certainly would get your table noticed.
Yeah,
That's
the
for
table.
sure.
It's certainly been. In fact, outside where I'm doing the we were doing this interview just outside. I walked along that side road, and there was a lady walked over to this dog, and it was so funny because the dog obviously, there's a couple at a pub with the dog at the pub, and they're all having a pint. Not the dog's obviously having water, not a pint. But the dog suddenly saw this lady and suddenly went absolutely crazy at this lady because obviously I don't know if it was excitement or fear. And the lady kind of did a little bit of fall backwards. And it reminded Mrs. Bucket when she used to fall into the hedge when the dog used to come up, jump at the car at her, which made me laugh. It was quite funny.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a reminder having animals around you. You know, it's a reminder for us to remember that we're human. You know, I think, you know, we are becoming very technology led. I mean, something with dining at the moment for me that I kind of sigh when you're told to scan the menu with a barcode, you know, and then you've got to bring it up on your phone and look at it that way rather than just having it on a piece of paper. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, it shows you how times are changing. I'm kind of for the modern technology. So Lightspeed are the ones, I say, who's come up with the idea of having a dine out week, and we've done the guide with it. And they're part of this software, the technology that's involved in that. Now, I know some people, and I get what you're saying, because I know there's certain people out there like the good old fashioned menu, and I completely get that. But what's interesting is a lot of places you go to now, luckily you do still get menus, or you can scan the menu and get the menu on the phone, which is not so easy for everybody, because there's obviously certain people that are quite rightly do not want to get involved in technology. But the interesting thing about the software is, from what I understand, is that obviously you can book yourself in. It gets, for the businesses, it's great. It gives them an idea of the predicted customer. It gives them an idea of what's the most popular thing, the food-wise, that they're having. You know, these are all things that really help the business, and also will help the industry, which I think is really, you know, with everything we've gone through over the last few years, where a lot of these businesses sadly didn't survive, and those that have, you know, managed to struggle through. I think this kind of technology is great, as long, you know, the only thing I'm saying is, and it will develop, and I know we can see that with AI, but I think there's, you know, as long as we always keep the space for humans to have, you know, people actually there doing the serving, doing the ordering. And if menus do become in the future where you walk in and they know automatically who you are and what kind of things you like, I wouldn't like to, you know, one of the things that people said from the poll was they'd like to see in 2030 that menus are tailored to individual persons. Now, that's what this technology could do. But what I still think is important, that you give people the choice. You know, okay, you might go in and they might say, look, we know your favourite, you know, it's a silly example, is a steak and chips, and we know that, and you often have this. But you don't want that to be the only thing you've been offered. You still want a menu with a selection of things, including, I'm sure, some doggy treats.
Oh, yes, let's hope the dog treats are on there. Even a dog menu. I mean, I've designed a few dog
I've
menus,
seen dog menus. I actually genuinely have seen dog menus. So
yeah, they're
that's
all the rage. But you see, with a dog menu, yeah, it's down to the owners though to choose what they're going to have because they can't read, obviously, dogs, but not
yeah.
yet anyway. Maybe they will with AI soon. Who knows? I
Possibly, you
guess.
never know. That would be. Can you imagine if AI becomes some sort of technology, can put something on the dog, and the dog can suddenly almost speak to us, or you never know.
But in terms of, etiquette, it's something, as I say, my dad was very strict with me at the table. Okay. I had to finish everything. Conversation had to be polite. I had to use my knife and fork properly. It sounds ridiculous. This was when I was quite young. um, and I noticed here, talking with your mouth full. I mean, for me, that's something I cannot bear. I mean, do people really do that, Grant?
Well, this is the thing from the kind of research that's been done at Lightspeed. One of the things that came back was that 44% of those that took part in the poll said it included amongst the worst table manners is chewing with your mouth open, or as I call it, the human cement mixer. Talking with your mouth full, where you're going to probably share somebody opposite you if that is what you're doing. And then it goes on, that's 44%, 31% not saying please and thank you to waiting staff, 28% clicking your fingers to get waiting staff's attention, which I think is just really unfair. And some people probably think it's okay, but I know in the industry it is very much frowned upon. And talking to your phone with sitting around the table. So it's one thing having your phone, because I think phones are important. On one hand, I'm saying don't have the phone out at the table. But the other part about the phone is we use them to communicate with our friends. We use them to communicate with, what I'm talking about is going out for a meal. Mention your friends or family for a meal. We use them to find the location. We use them to give a review. We use them to pay the bill. We use them to split the bill. And, and also for the picture. That all important picture. Everybody these days wants to take a picture, and that's fine as long as it's the right kind of establishment. And then obviously make sure the phone's away. And also, if you've got a four-legged friends as well, we will want to have pictures. I know we will, because I'm always taking pictures of my dogs. So I think that's the thing we've got to kind of remember. But then put the device away. Don't keep out so that it ruins the rest of the evening or the day, I should say.
Yeah, I quite agree. I mean, it's all about a sense of occasion, isn't it? I mean, I guess as well, it depends what kind of meal you're going for, whether it's, just meeting someone for a quick sandwich at lunchtime, but it still, means the same type of etiquette, surely.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The rules of etiquette when it comes to dining, whether it be a sandwich, whether it be a lunch or dinner, there's certain things that you kind of follow, certain rules that you have to follow. Well, not have to, but guidelines, which again, this guide that I've put together with Lightspeed, it's very much kind of covering those kind of, the kind of thing. I mean, I've got phone etiquette, which is that what I said about taking a picture and then making the phone disappear. iPad, as I said, children need to use an iPad. If they do need to use it, give them some time, but some earpods, and make sure they're off them as soon as the meal begins. Manners. Mistakes can happen. If dining isn't up to scratch or something's gone wrong or not up to standard, you should say something. Don't wait until the end of the meal, your last mouthful, then suddenly go, oh, I don't like this. I've also got about raising a glass. Cheers. Everyone likes kind of doing the cheers to each other. And I've got make good eye contact, smile, no clicking. Never have the pinkies up. And remember, we sip, don't swig. It's not the last orders at the bar. And then lastly, the bill, about what I said about writing it in the air, is quite a nice kind of little thing. It's something that we've done for decades, and I think that's quite good. But as we've already said, I think the doggies could help us with that one.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, so you do think that if you just kind of catch someone's eye, like maybe do a hand signal, when they're walking past, and then do that little scribbling gesture, that's okay, is it?
Yeah, that's fine. That kind of thing's fine. Just that little gesture is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's also quite a nice little thing to do.
Yeah, and they're expecting that as well. I mean, I love waiters and waitress. I mean, I've done a lot of waitressing, when I was a student, and and all the rest of it, and it's great, and it makes a big difference when the people that you're serving are respectful. I think
exactly.
Respect comes into this a bit.
Exactly.
You think?
No, you're right. It does. It's a big part of it. Definitely.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I know we have to kind of integrate now technology more and more, but I found that a bit scary what you were saying just a minute ago, that the restaurant will know, AI will know what you want to order in
Yeah,
advance.
yeah.
I mean, that, gosh, crumbs. I mean, that's really, really, oh,
It's quite scary, but it's extraordinary how much has developed even in the last year already.
But how would they know? I don't understand because you might change your mind 20 times before you get there.
Yeah, and exactly, but that's what's extraordinary about this kind of technology. But I think it's obviously looking if you've been there historically and what kind of things you've liked in the past. I think that's more what it's based on.
Okay.
I
I
think.
get that. Yeah. No. So if you're going to somewhere that you've been several times
Yeah,
before, I suppose it will remember somehow. But yes, all of that escapes me a little bit. But, I'm sure if that's the way it's going, then let's all kind of move with it. But
yeah.
I like to think that dogs will be more and more in our restaurants to keep us grounded, really, and possibly, I don't know what you think, Grant, on this, be an antidote a little bit to some of the technology.
I think so, and of course, animals being in pubs, even though we're saying that more and more pubs are allowing it. I mean, if you go back 150 years, it was quite commonplace to have animals in the pubs. So, back then it was very different world, and then obviously in the, I don't know, 70s, 80s, 90s, it became less and less, and then thankfully we're kind of going back the way again.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, do you take your Daxies? How does it work? Am I right in thinking you've got 6 Daxies?
I've got 6 of them. I call them the Royal Dachshunds. That's their nickname on social media. But no, I've got 6 of them, which kind of happened kind of by accident, because I think some people say, why have you got 6? And I always say I'm keeping up with the late Queen Elizabeth, but the reality is we had one about back in, oh wow, when was she born? She was born in 2010. And we had a little Dachshund, and then called Soko. And when she was about 3 years old, we decided she needed some company. She didn't like the idea, but we got another little guy called Shumba. He's a little black and tan fella. And then sadly, a few years after we had him, Soko sadly died. And losing her, we were completely devastated. So then we got another little miniature Dachshund, a cousin actually, to try to help with the pain. But more than help with the pain, she's become a big part of our lives. And but she's called Sura, and her mother was called Dora. And the people that had Dora, who obviously bred from her, decided they no longer wanted her for different reasons. So we opted to adopt the mum, which is how we ended up with 3. And then when we were there, we met another little girl called Pepper, a little black and tan, black and silver. I can't remember. I think dappled is the term.
Yeah.
And she was a beautiful little thing. And then we said how much we liked her. And then a few months later, they phoned up and said, we're actually not going to keep her. Would you like her? And we were like, yes, we will have her. So we had 4. And then in lockdown during COVID, Shumba, obviously the original, and Sura, the one that came along after we lost Soko, they had relations, and which resulted in 5 Dachshund puppies. So at that point, we were up to about 9 of them, I think, at that time, or 10. And then we obviously got the puppies to good homes, and they're all still, and we still keep in contact with all of them from time to time. One in particular, because he's quite near where we are. And so that's how we ended up with 6 of them. And now Shumba's now the eldest. He's now 12, going on 3, because you'd never know he was 12. But he's great for. They all got on. They're a good little team. So that's why we've got 6. I always say that technically 2 of them we adopted. So 4 of them are we've had, but the two of them were adopted.
Yes, and that's such a great thing to do, to rehome them,
Yeah.
and yeah. So what is it? You might, because I know when you're working at the palace, you said you didn't get that close to the corgis, but the Queen did have several dorgies, which are Queen Margaret's Dachsies that had relations, as you put it, with the corgi,
Yeah.
and made this first designer crossbreed, really, the dorgie.
The doggy, I know. And excuse me, but whenever we talk about the doggies, people always can go, what's a dog in? As you said, I've always got to explain it. But the Queen loved her doggies.
I know. Well, I think they did relations on purpose, actually, just to have
Yes.
some more.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the Queen had Dachsies as well when she was little, when she was a little girl.
oh, did she?
The Queen Mother had Dachsies. So the
Oh,
Dachsies go back a few years.
how interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they're a very old breed, Dachsies. I mean, I think they've changed shape a little bit over the years, and because they're brave dogs. I mean, they're Teckelhuns,
Yeah, yeah, they are.
badger dogs. So they need to have the ferocity to front a badger.
Yeah.
Um,
No, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read about a little taxi called Valerie that got lost on Kangaroo Island in
I
Australia.
saw this. I did see
Yes.
this.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone was saying she's going to die. There's no way she'll be able to survive because everything from snakes and spiders and dingoes and everything are on this island. But, remarkably, she did. I mean, do you think as a taxi owner this is possible?
Oh God, yeah, they're quite resilient little guys, and um, I mean, put it this way: two of my Dachsies a couple of years ago, we have a security camera for them, and we were watching them. They were in the kitchen, and we watched. I don't quite know how they had to kind of run for some reason downstairs. We tried to keep them in one area, and we watched on the camera one of them open the fridge. We watched one of them take the chicken out the fridge. We watched one take the butter out the fridge. We're obviously going to do a roast chicken, and then decided to have a go at eating this chicken and this butter. I won't tell you about the outcome of that situation. It was a bit of a mess to clean up. But no, they're quite. No, they won't go hungry. Those guys. If you don't feed them, they'll take care of themselves.
That's brilliant. I've just got this image. I mean, gosh, they're very low to the ground, aren't they, mini
They are.
taxis?
They're very low. They are very low to the ground.
So
But
did one of them like get a chair and push
no,
it?
the fridge is quite. The fridge is actually it was like an under the counter kind of fridge, so it was quite easy for them to. It was quite easy for them to get to.
Well, with their noses just push.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. That's it, you see, very crafty. But I love that because I love dogs that are a bit naughty and that use their imagination, to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's very impressive, Grant. Yeah, so would you say that was the naughtiest they've ever been?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, definitely with with the chicken. Oh, well,
Chicken.
actually, I mean yeah, I
I hope
mean
the chicken was raw because if it was cooked, the chicken bones, are very dangerous
I
to a
think
dog. But
it was. Do you know? I can't remember. I can't remember. But amazingly, if I think it was cooked. I have a feeling it was.
oh,
I think it was cooked, and somehow they managed not to eat the bone. I don't quite know how they didn't. I mean, this is years ago, but somehow they managed not to eat the bones. I don't quite know how.
well, that's lucky because how they splinter
Yeah,
the cooked
yeah,
bones, whereas raw bones don't splinter. You see,
yeah,
so they're okay. Like a chicken wing or is great. A chicken wing just raw to give to your dog, frozen and then thawed. It's great for their teeth and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you do that? Do you feed your dogs
They
stuff like
love,
that?
yeah, they love that. I mean, we give them all sorts. On special occasions, they'll get a bit of steak or Setney chicken's one of their favourites. Yeah, we're always kind of spoiling them. So we do spoil them quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. No, I bet you do. No, quite right. Dogs should be spoiled. The mini Daxi. So are they all smooth coats?
Yes, they are actually. We don't have any wire here. They're all miniature smooth coats. So, and there's four red. Well, there's three red dapple, one red, one black and tan, and one black and silver.
Lovely. Gosh, very striking combination.
So yeah, there is they're all, in fact, three of them do look quite similar. The mother and the daughter and the mother, the daughter and the son. Sometimes you've got to take a double look at them because they all look quite similar. So it can be quite tricky.
That's quite funny. One hiding behind the other going, it wasn't me. Lastly, I mean, what do you think about all this dog friendly?
What was that again?
Well, what do you think, Grant, about this whole new trend, which, we touched on 20 years ago, it wasn't around, You couldn't take your dog anywhere, basically. It was quite restricting to own a dog.
And it's changed a lot.
So much. I mean, would you say as good, or would you say it's entrepreneurs tapping into the hound pound?
No, I think it's good. I think it's, of course, there's money to be made. I mean, some places you take a dog, they charge you, somewhere I went, they charge you like a kind of cover for taking your dog in. So, that is obviously making money from it as well. But, we spend, I can't remember what it is we spend, but we spend so much on our dogs each year. I think it's, we spend a huge amount on animals. I know I do because I have them all insured and everything, and I spend more on their health insurance than I do in my health insurance. But but we do that with our animals. That is something we do.
Well, of course. I mean, absolutely. You have to these days, 'cause vet bills are, well, in the papers a lot at the moment, actually. We won't go there, but they do seem to have gone up a lot. That's all I'll say from the past. I was trying to think the other day how much a blood diagnostic cost in 2002 to what it costs now. And I can't remember without going through a massive file where I've kept all of these things, how you do for sentimental value. But I think I need to just to get a perspective on it all myself, really.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I just, I think also going back to what we were saying earlier on about with animals and what we spend and everything. It's also it's quite funny actually. It's also the products, the clothes you can get for the animals. That's quite funny because a few weeks ago I managed to get a little. This sounds ridiculous, but a cowboy hat for my one of the Shimba the Dashin, and we put them in the hat and put a video on social media, and the video's gone a bit crazy because I think people find it really funny he's got a hat on. So, but again, all these companies are tailoring things like that for our animals because they know we'll buy them, we know we'll put them on, they know we'll take pictures.
Yeah, I know. No, it's huge business. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's so funny how it's all changed. 20 years ago, you'd get hauled over the coals, for putting clothing on your dog.
Yeah.
That's not what you do. But now, so that's long gone. I was talking the other day to someone about how now owners and their dogs are really into twinning, and how there was the fashion house Hobbs actually that designed a pinafore. And lovely, actually, you'd like it, Scottish tweed, really lovely tweed fabric. And they designed a dog coat in the same really expensive tweed fabric, yes, for the dog. So
that's really nice.
Isn't it? Yeah. So you'd be very elegant walking along in a twinned outfit.
Yeah.
So it's, and I guess, dogs are an expression of your own personality. And just on that note, actually, so what would you say the miniature Dachsie represents about you?
I think Dachsies have kind of got this kind of, if I can say, they're a little bit grand. They've got a bit of a, they've got a bit of a kind of, I've taken some pictures of my dogs when they're sitting in chairs and stuff, and I always think, God, they've got a very regal side to them. And it's funny because the fact that Queen Elizabeth as a child had Dachsies, obviously they've got the doggies, I think kind of sums up my kind of background and, with what I do under this stage name of the Royal Butler. Kind of, I think the Dachsie kind of side of it kind of aligns with what I'm all about, really.
Yes. And they've got strong personalities, Dachsies.
They do.
As well, which again is important for, maintaining etiquette and order and, just having a good time, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny because the Dachsies are appearing more and more. I've noticed them online. I've noticed them in adverts. People. There's a huge. Apparently, they're in demand as well. People wanting Dachsies is one of the top kind of dogs that seem to want, which is great for these little guys. But sadly, it also means it puts their prices up. Sadly.
Yeah, and the thing is, then sometimes you get these unscrupulous dog breeders that aren't in it for the welfare of the breed of dog, and perhaps aren't breeding them totally conscientiously. And I know that they can suffer from back problems. I remember there was a whole piece actually. I went on. Gosh, it was LBC again, actually. I do go on the BBC, though, a lot as well. And I remember I was on with Andrew Marr, and he wasn't expecting what I was going to say, you see. So he said, so Anna, what do you think about this? And I said, well, Andrew, the problem is there's just too much sausage and not enough dog.
Yes.
And the thing was, it made him laugh so much, he had to cut his mic. And so
Oh,
I could see this because we were on video. So I just kept on talking and he was in pieces. He couldn't get himself back. Then he finally did, pushed his mic up and interrupted me. And I was so relieved. And it was one of again, the funniest things I've ever done. So that was what I kept saying. There's too much sausage and not enough dog.
that's really funny. I love the fact that about Andrew Marr having to turn off his microphone.
Yeah, I know. And we were on video, so I could see he was just laughing and he was kind of going, go on, just, keep going, keep going. He was going, see, he did, he caught himself. It was funny. It was brilliant. And it was all quite light-hearted. But I think that's one of the problems, isn't it, with the Dachsies? You've got to, yes.
Yeah, it is. That is the thing that they're quite easy to kind of people kind of obviously get the funny side with the whole sausage thing and the sausage. I mean, everyone says to me, but they don't say Dachsies. They always say, "How's the sausage dogs?"
Yeah, the sausages. Yeah, no, I know. That's it. Yeah, and I'm sure when the late Queen was, young, well, definitely not, they were shorter. They weren't as long, so that they were more square shaped really than oblong. But, look, and I think that's my only thing I would say about them, just because they can get this IVDD, where their vertebrae move, and then it's a very painful, expensive, long process to build them back to health. But it sounds like yours have been put together with thought and care and responsibility.
Yeah.
So, by the sounds of it, if they're, opening fridges and pulling whole chickens out
Yeah, I know they're quite. They're quite, yeah. I think they're all sorted.
Yeah. So just to recap, then, so this light speed artificial intelligence product, is that available now? I mean, is it around in places?
Yeah. So Lightspeed already got the software out there. They're already in quite a few establishments, and the work that we are doing together for this Dine Out this week, I say we're kind of pushing and championing, trying to get people to dine out, not just this week in general, but this is obviously the Dine Out week. And the guide that we put together, if anybody wants to read it or find any of the research out or more about the actual product that Lightspeed do, the website's lightspeedhq.co.uk/etiquette. They can get all the information there.
Yeah. And remember, no talking with your mouth full.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's been really brilliant. And please say hello to all of your sausages.
I will. I promise you I will. I'm off to go and see them tomorrow. I'm back home, so I'll see them tomorrow.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again.
Okay. Take care.
That's our show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcast. Thanks, of course, again to Grant Harrold for joining us today, and to Mike Hansen for all the music and production as ever. Find out more about him at Pod People UK. And of course, to Antonol for sponsoring this episode. And if you want to learn more about Antonol, just follow all the links in the show notes. And you can also benefit from my discount code, which is simply Webb. And if you haven't already, go on, subscribe, because that way you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.